Welcome to Northworthy Sagas and Stories.
You're back again. Oh, it's great to see you here at Northworthy Sagas and Stories. Now, I'm your host for today, as I sit on my shield for comfort, Bragi Magnuson, as you very well know, and I'm a Viking Scot, I'm a poet and I'm a warrior, and I'm also a teller of stories and folk tales. Now, some time ago, we saw an excellent folk tale by Egil, and that was called The King of Cats. Oh yes, it's a 16th century folk tale, a brilliant one. Not too many folk tales there about cats, and in this case Egil transformed the story back into the Dark Ages, of which I belong, as you very well know. Now, our story is about a cat, and well, let's talk about cats for a minute, and cats during the age of the Saxons and the Vikings, the time of mighty mortal heroes and kings and queens, of which we know many of. Now, this time was a wonderful time, and well, the Romans left cats, and cats have been around a long time before that too, as I put my axe away. And well, people had cats. Now, you lived in a small village, you may have a cat as a pet. There are accounts by an Irish monk in the 6th and 7th centuries of writing about cats and being known that cats had been given names, which is quite amazing. And also, cats were also known to be found in graves, or the remains of. Of course, we have no fur, the fur rots and the meat, and all we end up with the bones of the cats. And often in a children's grave there has been one or two cats found during the age of the Saxons. Now, our story starts off with a farmer and his wife, and they were sitting around in their longhouse. They had a bit of both, they had mead, they had some good crops, they had some workers working for them, and one or two slaves, which was often the practice in those days. But our farmer was fair, for he knew that if the slaves worked for him, he would set them free and their family, but not their children, as the children were never slaves fundamentally, most of the time. Now, our farmer was sitting around, the hearth, a wooden firebox surrounded by wood, with mighty flames coming out, and his wife was there. Then suddenly the door opened. It was near sunset, around this time of night in the summer, and the farmer's brother came in, and his name was Aelfric, often a common name during the times of the Saxons, and a name I'd like. Now, Aelfric, he said he had seen the most strange thing down at the graveyard, which is a place of a very old and ancient site, for it is often known that our ancestors buried people on the sites of the Bronze Age, on the Iron Age, for these sites were often reused. Now, our farmer brother came in, he was startled. He said, "I saw the most strange thing down the graveyard." And his brother said, "What have you seen?" He said, "Well, firstly, I was digging a grave. That's my job. He is a grave digger. Somebody had to do it, and it's a long tradition. Although in the Roman times they often burnt people and cremated people. But that, as we often say at Northworthy, is another story." Now, he said, "I heard this strange thing. I was sitting there digging a grave." Well, not sitting, I was standing. I'd not long been sitting. And I heard these meows in the background. And I saw these 9 black cats walking on the back legs. And they had a white spot on the chest. And 8 of the cats were carrying a coffin, 4 on each side. Well, to this, the farmer and the farmer's wife looked quite puzzled, and they had an old cat, an old ginger tomcat, and he suddenly kind of looked up to me and meow, and nothing. They didn't think anything of this, so they carried on talking and hearing the story. This is what happened next, said the farmer and his wife, who was most insistent to know what happened next. He said, well, they came along carrying this coffin, and the coffin was draped in a purple cloth, a wool of fine cloth, and on top of the cloth was a small, tiny gold crown. Well, I thought to myself, this is the most odd. Have I been drinking too much mead again? Is some of that bread affected with some of those strange plants we sometimes get in our food that makes you go a bit mad? No. He'd not been drinking, and he was quite sober. And so he moved his eyes, he looked again, and they were there, still marching. And they came very close, and the lead cat, the ninth cat at the front, he was carrying some sort of a banner, a flag. He came up to the man, Aelfric, the Anglo-Saxon gravedigger, and he says, you must tell Doldrum that Doldrum is dead. Minding his shield and not to fall off it. That would have been an outtake. And he said, what? He said, you must tell Doldrum that Doldrum is dead. Well, he picked his ears thinking he was hearing things, he clearly was. And then the cats turned around, the 8 cats with the coffin did a kind of a pivot and turned round, and then the lead cat took the front and led the other cats off, carrying the coffin with the purple cloth and the crown on the top. And he thought this to be most strange. And so at this point the tomcat, of which the farmer and the wife had, got up again and went meow. And this was mighty strange. Well, he told them their story, and they kind of could not believe it. Then suddenly the cat, he got up, and he said, Doldrum, tell Doldrum that Doldrum is dead. And they could not believe it, for they have never seen or heard of a talking cat. Then suddenly a flash of light, and the cat shot out the door, and he was never seen again. On the 9 world, so they say, and a mystery in itself. And that is the end of our folk tale, which is an English folk tale. Now, thank you for watching. If you have enjoyed this, especially the bit where I nearly fell off my shield, then please give it a like. And also, put it down there, isn't it? Also, don't forget to subscribe if you're new. I'm Bruggy, of course, son of Magnar. And if you want to see the older version of this tale, told by the very good folktale and Viking Egil Thorson, then of course you know what to do. Then please go and click this card. Leave your comments, was hail, and good health.